Hasbro is under the delusion that Wizards of the Coast can continue down this path of greed to prosperity, but what they're not betting on is the player base. The cards that Wizards of the Coast is hoping to capitalize on later are now being recognized by players faster and faster and being bought before the cards spike up and FOMO takes in. In today's video, we'll be discussing some of these cards and the changes happening in the secondary market, and yeah, I'm talking about you, the Eldrazi, and of course, Wilds of Eldraine. Understanding the rules to a game is good. Understanding the loopholes inside that game is even better. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. And Hasbro's greedy. And they force that on Wizards of the Coast, and that makes them a very predictable monster to deal with. Very, very predictable. More of the players out there are starting to recognize just how predictable they are. Picture that guy in a glass box, and he's trying to catch all that money. First he tries grabbing the cash this way, and it's kind of hit or miss. He tries sitting down and kind of crushing the money down to get it all, hit or miss, and eventually he just puts his arms out. And as the money comes, it kind of starts sticking to him. And he keeps the same pose, and by the end, he's got like 95% of the money. That's what Wizards of the Coast is trying to do. They are trying to capitalize and scrape in as much money from every single angle that they can get their hands on. And they're basing a lot of their information on the secondary market and how the sales react on the secondary market. Again, that's kind of predictable, isn't it? So when you look at a new set coming out, and we got Wilds of Eldraine coming, and they know how things were received in the last Wilds of Eldraine. They can see the sales figures. They can see which cards are popular. They can look at the meta and see where these cards are still being played. Do you think they can't engineer cards to fit within that system? Of course they can. Most you would say, of course, Mox, man, that's very straightforward. Of course, that's we're not stupid. We get it. Exactly. Wizards is aware of that too. So which cards do you choose to buy when a new set comes out? Well, we knew there was going to be fairies. We knew we were going to have probably some knights and soldiers. We have one planeswalker. There's information we knew. And as soon as that information became known, some people will start looking around and gathering up cards. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people are just the Timmy sitting there going, I want to see the next card. This is amazing. It's so exciting. I'm excited. Oh, I want to see what's next. I know it's a little simplistic, but you get the point. Players just get caught up in the moment and don't actually see what's happening in the secondary market background. But Wizards is well aware what's happening. When we had Commander Masters come out, yes, I know, the price point. But when we had that product come out, as soon as the announcement was made, we are getting slivers and we are getting Eldrazi. What do you think happened? What do you think happened in the secondary market? The smart players, as soon as they saw that announcement, started looking for cards that are not likely to get reprinted inside of a Commander box. They are looking for cheap Eldrazi that could be used and carried forward into Commander decks. They are searching for the answer. But how many players actually take time to do that? 100? Maybe 1,000? Maybe 10. I don't care what the number is. It's a lot less than the players looking at the bright and shiny and are just falling prey to what's being planned in front of them, following the rules of the game. But knowing those loopholes, understanding how that company is going to react to these things is even better. Take a look. We're talking about Eldrazi here. So take a look at this Eldrazi. Here's the Void Winnower. Battle for Zendikar. Remember Battle for Zendikar? Man, it was awesome. Now, Battle for Zendikar was nowhere near as good as the original. Not even close. Not even close to the Rise of the Eldrazi. Not even close. But it did have some decent, not amazing, but decent Eldrazi that haven't been reprinted. They haven't come around again. Now, here we have the Void Winnower. Look at the value. Look at the spike, and look when the spike happened. As soon as they started seeing cards, people realized this was less likely to get printed into a mythic slot, and they gobbled the card up for a couple of dollars each. Couple of bucks each. And now, if you look on TCG Player, you will see hundreds of copies have sold. Look at your local LGS, copies sold out. Why is that? Because somebody got there first. Somebody understood, bought up a lot of copies, shot the price up. Now, do you think Wizards of the Coast is unaware of that? Do you think they got their head in the sand, looking down, going, this is a pretty sandbox? No. They are very well aware of what has happened, and they are planning their next phase. They're following their rules of the game. And they will give us either a remastered Battle for Zendikar, or they're going to give us certain high-priced cards reprinted elsewhere. Remember Kozilek? Look at all the cards they've reprinted. The high-end Eldrazi, they're now worth less than cards like the Winnower. There's lots of Eldrazi selling exceptionally well. Even common Eldrazi from Battle for Zendikar, they used to be like 10 cents or 30 cents. I know that doesn't seem like a lot of money, but it went up by like 200%. Not good math, I know. But still, they went up, they shop a lot. Comparatively speaking to their value points before this. Conduit of Ruin. Thing was like a couple of bucks. Now it's $7, $8, $9 still going. Those kind of sales, Wizards of the Coast is going to hone in on and add to reprint targets. They are preparing for it. They understand because they set the rules to the game. They are greedy. And when you are greedy, you are predictable. What players out there knew that Sliver Hive was not going to get reprinted? Very few people. There's only a couple out there who kind of saw maybe this thing wouldn't come around because they can use that as reprint equity later, like the Void Winnower. Even if they use it as a remastered product. Give us Battle for Zendikar remastered in 2024, 2025, whatever. When they bring that set around as a remastered product and they put that card in, it adds value, right? Perceived value inside the set to justify the costs. Now, that all said, look how predictable that makes that company. Same as when they give us a price hike. It's predictable now. We just expect it. And since they don't give us anything unexpected other than some fancy trinkets inside the game, it makes everything very easy to focus on and find these loopholes and abuse them if you know where to look. Now, that's just the Eldrazi. Let's think about other sets coming up. Let's take a moment and go down memory lane. We have the Wilds of Eldraine coming up right now. Do you think they looked back at Throne of Eldraine and saw which cards were popular, which mechanics were working well, and then took that and carried it forward to 2023, 2024? We got the Wilds of Eldraine. We also have Bloomburrow coming up. Do not underestimate those two. I've said it once. I'm going to say it again. Look at the creature types you're getting and understand the game they are playing. Because when you understand their game better than they understand it, you can get ahead and get the cards out of the way and save yourself a lot of money. Now take a look here. We have a couple of crazy Eldraine stuff they're giving us. Here's the Archmage of Echoes. Okay, this thing is a 5 casting cost 4/4 Fairy Wizard. Remember I told you guys about these hybrids. Fairy and a Wizard. They also have ones with Warlock and stuff. It's crazy. It says whenever you cast a Fairy or Wizard, right? Oh, sorry. A Fairy or Wizard permanent spell, copy it. Okay? So I want you to think about that for a second. You can copy a permanent spell that is a fairy or a wizard. Think of the really powerful wizards in the game. Think of the really powerful fairies. And think about how commander decks can be utilized around this. And you can get ahead of everything. You can look where cards are not even examples yet. Where it hasn't even come up as a question mark yet. Buy some of these cards, especially when they're 20 cents. Just buy 4. It costs less than $1. If it doesn't hit, oh well. If it does hit, you did very well because you can trade that in for cards you actually want to get your hands on. But this is what people do. This is the loopholes people use when they look ahead and see what's being planned inside. Now, this other card, Woodland Acolyte. At first, it looks kind of generic. I'm not super fond of the art, but I love the staff type sword. Reminds you of Sword to Plowshares, doesn't it? Okay, it says Mend the Wilds. That's the adventure card for 1 green. I'll put a target permanent from your graveyard on top of your library. A target permanent. Think about crazy cards that go to your graveyard. Yeah, not sorceries, unfortunate instance, but you've got the ability to take permanents as the adventure for 1. It's like a crazy limited version of a regrowth on a creature that you can cast later. Then it says, when Woodland Acolyte enters the battlefield, you also draw a card. So it gets you card advantage. And it's a 2/2 for 3. That's a little bit weak by today's standards, but the other 2 abilities make that card super powerful, super utilitarian, and it's an uncommon. Do you think it's going to get played a lot? Because I have the feeling that card's going to be played. Now, how about these? Here is quick study. When I saw this card, it took a second for my brain to register just how great this card is. It isn't a sorcery. It's an instant. Imagine that for a moment. This is 1 blue, 2 generic to draw 2 cards. And it's an instant you can cast at the end of somebody else's turn. That card is insane, and that's a common. Do you think it'll be an easy common to find or a hard common? Because it's funny how, like, hundreds of copies have already sold, and that's just in the last day. And I think this card's going to reach about 7,000 sales by this weekend. I wonder why that is. Do you think it'll be number 1 in the top 10? Tune in Saturday and find out. Now, the Horned Lock Whale. This thing is 2 blue, 4 generic for a 6/6. Think of the reserve list whale that has flash and untaps lands. This doesn't untap lands, but it does have flash. It has ward 2, and it says the Horned Whale enters the battlefield tapped unless it's your turn. So you're going to cast at the end of your turn, end of the opponent's turn, sorry. It's going to come into play tapped, but then it has ward 2, so it can take some hits if it has to. A little harder to get rid of, and then you can attack in your turn. Great. It's a 6/6. But look at its ability for its Lagoon Breach for its instant adventure. The owner of target attacking creature you don't control, put it on top or the bottom of their library. You can eliminate creatures. You can do crazy stuff with this card. You can use it early to get rid of a creature bothering you and then cast it out, or do a combo later on with a deep mana pool available to you. This stuff is insane, the power level they're thinking of, but also the fact it's a whale. Now, I know a lot of you guys would have expected me to go ahead and maybe showing you guys images of the Throne of Eldraine. I'm sure other channels covered it. It's an incredibly powerful card that's going to see tons of play, but maybe not as much as people think. Just because of the mana cost and how it'll be utilized, it's a mid-game type thing, but it's still a powerful card. Wizards is giving us very powerful cards, but the creature types, the archetypes they're choosing, wizards, warlocks, these are not by accident. They are by design, and they are meant to link to cards in our past as well as cards going forward to the future. But it's the ones in the past you need to pay attention to. The ones in the past can spike. Before they ever get reprinted, they have the potential to spike up before Wizards plans the reprint. So if you can find those cards and be the first to the key, you will be the first to the egg. You will make it there first and be able to utilize the benefit of being smarter than other people and getting ahead. There's a lot of content creators, I'm sure, who cover a lot of this material, but it's that financial side that bothers me when somebody gets taken for money they don't have to be taken for. I'm not saying have some fun, open and crack a pack, but when you want to buy a card like the Void Winnower, which is a couple of bucks, and all of a sudden it shoots up to $40, it's by design. It's not random. And so many players buying it tells me it's not random, because a lot of players want to utilize that card. But if they had bought it just 2 weeks before for $2, they wouldn't have had to worry about it. That's what gets me. So I focus a lot, guys, on the financial side and being able to look behind the scenes and see what's coming down the path. Pay attention to Bloomburrow. Pay attention to what we see the rest of Wilds Eldraine. A lot of these cards are going to interconnect all the way through into 2025. New creature types, a new meta of creature types that we have not really seen before that will branch out. I'm even surprised to see how many giants we're seeing. There are so many out there now, which leads me to believe there are potentials later. And in case you haven't noticed, go ahead and take a look on TCG Player. Treat yourself. You'll notice a whole bunch of sales for Hall of Storm Giants from Dungeons & Dragons. I love the card I talked about before. It's still a cheap card, but when they sell a couple hundred copies in a week, that's not normal for that card anymore. People are getting ready to build Giant Tribal. They are starting to connect cards together to have fun, understanding the loopholes. The greed machine of Hasbro can be understood, disseminated, and taken apart to your advantage when you look around and just look for the signs. And if you don't want to look for the signs, send me an email, ask me a question. I am happy to help out and create some content around it if I think I have enough information to go on. It's amazing to see this game. It's an amazing game to play. And there is a lot of value in the game. I mean, even understanding these cards and buying ahead of time, finding that curve, buying ahead and selling into it, you can do these flip quick things, right? But you can get caught too. So pay attention to that too, because some stores won't take that much trade in. Always be aware and understand the limitations of the market you're playing in if you're going to play this whole bait and switch and flip thing. It's just the delusion they think they can keep going at the rate they're going at with no repercussions is insanity personified to me. There are limits. Players want to play, they want to enjoy the game. They're going to get smarter, savvier, and quicker with making decisions before Wizards even knows what hits them. And then when Wizards goes for a reprint set, tons of people already bought the card in the secondary market. It was 20 cents. And the company's like, well, this card was supposed to shoot up. Everyone already had it, so nobody bought it. That's where they're headed. People already looked ahead and bought the cards before it even came into production. Crazy stuff. Anyway, thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks for being here on the video today. Guys, looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Have an awesome day, and don't forget, it's a great game. Bring a friend to Magic and enjoy yourselves. Here we are at the end credits. This is the moment of truth where you, the viewer, get to see all the amazing people who support this channel each and every day. These are the patron members of the channel, the YouTube membership members who are here day in, day out, allowing for uploaded content. It's amazing! So close, yet so far. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble, brought to you by MTG Moxman, the amazing patrons of this channel, and a 3/4 empty coffee cup. Deadpool in the background, Bruce Campbell saying, shop smart, shop S-Mart, and the 1,450 subscribers we need to reach that 20K goal, and a box that is getting very heavy and very full. And there's all kinds of cool stuff in here, and I can't show you any of it because it's not time. But we're getting closer. We're going to have some fun. Now that you know we're going to have fun, how do you feel about that? Do you like fun? Do you like fun? Because some of this fun, you're here at the end, nobody else is here. Some of this fun is going to be free to anybody. Free. Just thought you might like to know that.